This is the Intercontinental Broadcasting Corporation. Sa bagong Pilipinas.
This is 13 News.
Let's get into the headlines right now. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. begins his working visit in Singapore to boost Philippine ties as his public satisfaction rating rises.
On day 5 of the impeachment trial, prosecution drops OVP witnesses, cites defense records confirming VP Sara's alleged death threats.
Sandigan Bayan weighs Ombudsman's bid to discharge former DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan as state witness in flood control scandal.
An injured Philippine eagle, critically endangered hanging parrots, and abused horses were rescued in separate operations.
And actress Bea Alonso and businessman Vincent Co have tied the knot.
All these and more here on 13 News.
Great to have you here tonight. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos are on their way to Singapore for a 3-day working visit.
They departed Villamor Air Base at around 5 this afternoon. The president is set to pay a courtesy call on Prime Minister Lawrence Wong, with talks aimed at strengthening bilateral ties and expanding cooperation in trade, investment, health, environment, and regional development. First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos will also participate in the Global Economic Cooperation East Summit alongside business and government leaders. The visit underscores Manila's push for deeper regional engagement and economic collaboration.
Before flying to Singapore, President Marcos Jr. inaugurated the M-Terra Solar Phase 1 in Gapan City, Nueva Ecija, touted as the world's largest integrated solar and battery storage facility. The project is expected to power 2.4 million households in Nueva Ecija and Bulacan to create 10,000 jobs and cut 4.3 million metric tons of carbon emissions annually. It is also projected to deliver 23 billion pesos in financial benefits and additional tax revenues over the next decade.
These capabilities will help strengthen the stability of our power system while expanding the role of clean energy in our power generation mix. Equally importantly, its impact will be felt in the daily lives of our people.
Amid his busy schedule, President Marcos Jr.'s net satisfaction rating rose in the second quarter of 2026, according to the latest social weather survey. Luzon posted the highest increase at 9 points, followed by Visayas with 7 points and Mindanao with 5, with gains also seen across urban and rural areas, as well as among poor and middle-class Filipinos. The survey reflects growing public approval of the president's efforts to deliver improved services nationwide. Senator Rodante Marcoleta has completed a court-ordered medical evaluation at the Philippine General Hospital ahead of his scheduled appearance before the Sandigan Bayan. According to his doctors, Marcoleta underwent a series of medical tests, including a 2D echocardiogram, chest x-ray, and complete blood count, as he was found fit to appear in court. The third-party medical evaluation was ordered by the Sandigan Bayan to assess Marcoleta's health condition. Following the examination, he was returned to the PNP General Hospital.
Meanwhile, the Sandigan Bayan has taken under careful deliberation the Ombudsman's motion to discharge former DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan from his graft case so he can serve as a state witness in the alleged flood control scandal. Earlier, Bonoan arrived at the Sandigan Bayan 2nd Division in a wheelchair for his scheduled arraignment and pre-trial on graft charges as he was asked regarding his condition.
Sir, kamusta po? Sir. Sir. Sir.
The court suspended Bonoan's arraignment to hear the prosecution's motion, which seeks to drop the charges against him in exchange for his cooperation in the investigation, as the motion has been submitted for resolution. Meanwhile, the camp of Senator Jinggoy Estrada opposed the motion, arguing that discharging Bonoan would alter the prosecution's original theory that the two conspired together and would unfairly leave Estrada to face the case alone.
It's a good week for the animal kingdom. A series of rescues have saved valuable wildlife this week, with human heroes stepping in to save lives, big and small. IBC correspondent Ezra Abad has the story.
From stranded wildlife to pets in peril, heroes stepped in to save animals this week. In the forests of Malaybalay, Bukidnon, an injured Philippine eagle was saved by a local hero. The eagle was grounded due to gunshot wounds to both of its wings. Maggots-infested wounds threatened the life of the national bird. The eagle, now named Sawaga Dalwangan, was found under attack by dozens of macaque monkeys until Marvin Linoy stepped in. He then brought the eagle to safety. The Philippine Eagle Foundation rushed to treat the bird, cleaning its wounds and removing one bullet while another remains pending surgery. But frustration has surfaced among locals as accusations of hunting the national bird have been unfairly directed at its rescuers, who are members of the indigenous people in Handig tribe. In a statement, the tribe clarifies its culture and way of life is rooted in caring for and living with nature. In Magpet, Cotabato, 10 critically endangered Philippine hanging parrots, locally known as kulasisi, are back in the wild after being rescued from an alleged illegal sale. Officials say the parrots were being sold for 1,000 pesos each. The birds were seized during a wildlife enforcement operation in Barangay Pangawan, following a tip from a concerned citizen. The Philippine hanging parrot is found only in the country and is considered critically endangered. The DENR reminds the public that wildlife are protected under Philippine laws. In Republic Act 9147, the collection, hunting, possession, transport, and sale of wildlife are prohibited. Fines involving endangered species may result in imprisonment of up to 4 years and fines of up to 300,000 pesos. Meanwhile, in Misamis Oriental, a horse was rescued after its video went viral online, where he was being dragged running behind a vehicle with its neck tied to its bumper. The video of the horse named Kabang sparked outrage online, which got the attention of PETA. PETA then coordinated an extensive rescue effort for Kabang. Today, Kabang is living his best life in Nagcarlan, Laguna, with his adoptive parent. Here in the metro, an albino iguana was voluntarily surrendered by its owner to DENR NCR. The agency says, like many exotic reptiles, iguanas can turn defensive when threatened. The DENR NCR reminds residents not to catch, harm, or release wild or exotic animals. Instead, citizens are urged to contact the nearest DENR office. Ezra Abad, IBC News.
Former tropical depression Josie has weakened into a low-pressure area while moving northeastward over the Philippine Sea. Based on the latest data from Pag-asa, the LPA was last located 1,125 kilometers east of southeastern Luzon, and it may eventually dissipate or dissolve. Meanwhile, another tropical depression was spotted west-northwest of extreme northern Luzon, outside Philippine area of responsibility near Guangdong, China. It poses no direct impact on the Philippines and is also expected to weaken into an LPA. Such weather system is not enhancing the southwest monsoon or habagat. Instead, its clouds are being diverted toward the depression. As a result, rains over the western section of the country are likely to ease in the next 2 days. Pag-asa also said that no new typhoon is expected to enter PAR until the weekend, though one tropical cyclone may still develop before July ends. Despite lesser rains expected, government agencies are prepared with their flood control initiatives. For instance, the MMDA recently installed L-shaped flood barriers at Camp El Ginaldo to block runoff from reaching EDSA during heavy rains. Developed with Japanese expertise, the technology aims to reduce flooding and maintain smoother traffic flow. Meanwhile, floodwaters in areas like Taft Avenue and G. Araneta in Quezon City now subside more quickly thanks to DPWH's Oplan Contra Baha projects. This follows President Marcos Jr.'s directive for continuous declogging and drainage expansion to keep motorists safe during heavy rains.
Tonight, the prosecution has announced it will no longer present OVP Chief of Staff Attorney Zulaika Lopez and Captain Belinda Bello as witnesses in the impeachment trial. Counsel Attorney Lorna Capunan argued that the testimonies of NBI officials are already sufficient, even noting that defense records confirm the Vice President's alleged threats. For the latest details on this development, we now go live via phone patch to our reporter Earl Tobias. Earl, good evening. Go ahead. Yes, we will go back to you, Earl.
Based Deworming Project. Stay tuned. This is 13 News.
Katotohanan para sa akin is who you are and what you are as a journalist. Dahil bilang journalist, kailangan mong magsalita at magsulat ng katotohanan.
We all have our versions of truth, pero yung truth na dapat nating binibigyan ng emphasis is always the truth that would be beneficial for the greater public.
Truth is very important to me. I grew up valuing honesty, so it's natural for me. And I really think na hindi ba dapat naman talaga parte ng pagkatao natin yung totoo tsaka yung pagpapakatotoo.
Bagong Pilipinas. Mahalaga ang kapakanan ng bawat isa. Lahat ng aspeto ng lipunan pinagtutuunan ng pansin ng pamahalaan at ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Bagong Pilipinas, PBBM, Lingkod ng Bayan. Tuwing Linggo, alas 8:30 ng umaga.
Kayo ba ay may mga isyong may kinalaman sa karapatang pantao o pangkalusugan?
Isyung legal at pangangailangang medikal, ito ang programang magbibigay payo, tulong para sa mga mamamayang nangangailangan. Kasama sina Congressman Zia Alonto Adyong at Attorney Mix Nograles.
Makakasama niyo kami sa paghahatid ng kwento at tulong, pag-asa at pagbibigay ng mabilis at di kalidad na serbisyo.
Tutukan ang lahat ng ito sa House at your service tuwing Sabado, 1:00 ng hapon dito sa IBC 13 at Congress TV. Sabi nila, bawal maligo pag pagod. Sabi nila, huwag matulog kapag basa ang buhok. Pero,
Doc, true ba?
sa dami ng impormasyon sa internet, alin ang dapat paniwalaan at alin nga ba ang dapat kalimutan? Kasama ang OPA host, Jerome San, at ang pambato sa medisina, Dr. Cel Martinez. This season, mas pinalakas ang team with pharma expert Natalia Austria para sagutin ang katanungan sa tamang paggamit ng gamot. Doc, true ba? Every Sunday, 7:30 a.m. on IBC 13. Be a part of the IBC 13 family. We are looking for a motor pool supervisor who can be part of our team. Interested applicants may email their application and resume to ibc-tv13hrd@gmail.com or send to Administrative Department, IBC 13, Capitol Hills Drive, corner Zuzua Regi Street, Diliman, Quezon City.
Welcome back to 13 News, and we now have our IBC correspondent Earl Tobias live via phone patch to give us updates on the impeachment trial today. Earl, good evening. Go ahead.
Romanov appeared to be a threat directed at the president and his family. Earlier accounts had suggested Operation Romanov was a threat against the vice president and her family, but testimonies now pointed out the other way. The defense countered that the phrase came from a participant named Princess Maui during an online press conference of the VP.
Yung threat na yon, yung Romanov na salita, it was used to warn as a threat to the first family. Na para bang binabantaan niya yung first family.
Mr. President, sabi niya, remember what happened to the Romanovs. When you go to bed tonight, think about the Romanovs. Parang sinasabi niya na baka mangyari sa pamilya niyo yon.
Na yung palang Oplan Romanov, a threat against the first family.
Yes, sir.
Ang impression ko since last week, nung pag-uusapan natin yung Oplan Romanov, a threat ito against the Vice President.
Lotok also clarified that typographical errors in NBI's affidavit did not affect the findings of probable cause for grave threats and inciting to sedition. He explained that despite mistakes in dates and documents, the investigation remained consistent. In redirect examination, the prosecution asked Lotok if the BP failed the public's trust, to which he answered yes. Later, OVP Chief of Staff Attorney Zelaika Lopez appeared after being subpoenaed but was not presented as a witness today. Prosecution Counsel Attorney Lorna Kapunan in a press conference said Attorney Zelaika Lopez would no longer testify under the articles of grave threats against the Vice President. Kapunan said that the testimonies of NBI witnesses were sufficient. Here are the statements of Prosecutor Counsel Lorna Kapunan.
At all. In fact, I kill a mosquito with an atomic bomb. This was not necessary here. Yeah, because it is their own admission, no, that there was really the statements made. The statement made by the Vice President during that press conference that she did hire someone to kill. No? If that is not grave threats, then what is it? No?
William, we're still here in the Senate, and Attorney Lorna Kapunan, just to be clear, clarified that Attorney Zelaika Lopez can still be summoned as a witness under a different article of impeachment as the trial proceeds. William.
Yes, thank you, Earl Tobias, reporting live. Day 5 of the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte centered on the testimony of an NBI official as senator judges scrutinized the evidence behind the alleged grave threats and inciting to sedition. With oral arguments set to begin tomorrow on the prosecution's bid to subpoena VP Sara's records, the proceedings are now entering another critical phase. And to help us break down today's key developments, we are joined tonight by Attorney Gigi B. Agabao, lawyer and former House prosecutor in the Chief Justice Renato Corona impeachment trial. Attorney Agabao, good evening, and thank you for giving us the time to join us this evening.
Yeah, the pleasure is mine, and thank you very much for inviting me.
Yes, Attorney, today's proceedings focused on the testimony of NBI Regional Director Jeremy Lotok on the allegations of grave threats and inciting to sedition. Based on what transpired today, how would you assess the strength of the prosecution's case, especially after it decided to forego 2 remaining witnesses?
A simple answer to that is this: it's very strong. I think the prosecution has successfully established the elements of grave threat as well as inciting to sedition. No? And I think that is the reason. And I think that's a good explanation given by Attorney Kapunan, that they have enough evidence already submitted, oral and documentary. It's time to put a stop. Anyway, it has been fully established already. It's time to move on.
Okay, and tomorrow the impeachment court will hear the arguments on the bid to subpoena the Vice President's bank, AMLAC, NBIR records. What basis must the prosecution establish for these subpoenas to be granted, and how important could these records be to the case?
Well, the subpoena on the AMLA records of the vice president, including her husband, as well as the BIR records, has no relation. I don't think it has any relation to Article 4, which is now being prosecuted. It has a relationship on the other articles of impeachment, particularly on the SAL-N, or the ill-gotten wealth charge against the vice president. But it's good that very early on, they already requested the subpoena because this is a contested matter. And I think this will be really a hot topic issue between the prosecution and the defense. For one, the prosecution would insist that they get a copy of the AMLA records. I guess the defense will dispute that, saying that those are confidential records and that therefore it's beyond the reach of the impeachment court to dwell into. But of course, the answer there on the part of the prosecution is that whereas under the bank secrecy law, impeachment is an exception, I suppose they'll argue that because that is an exception under the bank secrecy law, that should serve also as an exception to the AMLA. But I think the bigger dispute here would be whether the impeachment court can unilaterally, on its own, demand the presentation of the AMLA record. Why is that a contentious issue? For AMLA to investigate a suspicious account, it needs to go to the Court of Appeals. That is the procedure. And so the issue probably that will be laid out before the impeachment court is this. Can the impeachment court on its own demand the reproduction of those AMLA records bypassing the Court of Appeals? That's a legal question. Second, on the issue of the income tax return, the law is very clear. The exhibition, the showing up of the display of income tax returns of individuals is prohibited, unless the president expressly allows it. Unless the president expressly allows it. So those will be the legal issues I believe that will be argued tomorrow. Let me repeat. So far as AMLA records is concerned, would the impeachment court bypass the Court of Appeals? Because that's a requirement under the law. And second, with respect to the BIR records of the vice president, would it be necessary to secure the consent or approval of the president for the BIR records to be the subject of examination by the impeachment court?
Okay, thank you very much, Attorney Agabao, for your time, and hope you will be able to join us also as the trial continues, Paul. Despite the death of an 8-year-old student, the Department of Health, along with the Department of Education, are still pushing through with its school-based deworming activity. According to DOH Undersecretary Albert Domingo, there must be proof that the deworming drug was the direct cause of the death of the student. However, the parent of the student victim says there were no advice from the school that a deworming medicine would be administered to their children.
Kulang talaga, ma'am, kasi hindi po sinabi sa amin na papainumin yung anak ko. At saka wala kong kain yung anak ko, ma'am, eh. At saka grade 8 years old pa lang yun, ma'am. Tapos yung gamot na pinainom, 400 mg. Pag talagang mapatunayan po na yung gamot po ang di pa papayag na lang po, na ariglo lang po, pagbabayaran po nila yung ginawa sa anak ko.
The Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption group that have been assisting the family of the victim strongly opposes DOH's continuance of its deworming activity. It is strongly calling for accountability by command responsibility. The family of the fallen grade 4 student is holding off the funeral to give way to National Bureau of Investigation's autopsy and investigation.
Ang reply namin sa DOH, dapat bago nila i-roll out, itigil muna nila before the rollout, pag-aralan nilang mabuti, antayin nila yung forensic results kung ano ba talaga ang naging cause of death.
Meanwhile, Dr. Jose Pujalte Jr. formally takes his oath as the new Secretary of the Department of Health. President Ferdinand R. Marcos himself administered his oath of office. Pujalte's appointment came after Ted Herbosa stepped down from his post, citing health concerns as he emerges from a knee replacement surgery. Pujalte is a seasoned surgeon and is the founder of the Philippine Shoulder Society.
Actress Bea Alonzo and Pure Gold President Vincent Co have officially tied the knot in an intimate civil wedding held in Makati yesterday. The ceremony was officiated by Makati Mayor Nancy Binay. Reports said only 6 guests were present during the private ceremony. According to a source, the couple's previously planned wedding in Spain last May was merely postponed, not canceled.
As the country's sporting community continues to evolve, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. personally visited the world-class sports academy in Capas, Tarlac. The visit highlights the administration's continued commitment to providing premier support to Filipino athletes across all sports. IBC News correspondent Harley Balbuena has the report.
This is the National Academy of Sports, or NAS, in New Clark City, Capas, Tarlac. It has a track oval and courts for badminton, gymnastics, and other sports, providing both quality education and sports training. NAS is home to 246 student athletes, all of whom receive free education, meals, training, allowance, and other support. One of them is Luke, who found his inspiration close to home, his cousin, 2-time Olympic gold medalist Carlos Yulo.
Nag-medal siya, parang gusto ko na po ulit mag-training na gymnastics.
Now a grade 12 athlete scholar at NAS, Luke is one step closer to chasing his own Olympic dream.
Pangarap ko po makapasok po sa national team.
To make sure that student athletes are receiving the best, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. today inspected the Sports Academy, met with athletes, and observed their training.
Mas focus po talaga sa academics, tapos at the same time nababalance pa rin po namin ang training po namin. Really helped me shape up my swimming career.
Sila kasi dati nakikipasabay pa sila sa publiko. Ito dedicated facility para sa mga atleta lang talaga.
With plans to expand NAS to more regions, more young Filipino athletes could soon have the opportunity to pursue both academic and athletic excellence. Harley Balbuena, IBC News.
U.S. State Secretary Marco Rubio warned the International Criminal Court. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has officially declared the resumption of the war in Iran. Let's have more of these international developments with CJ Reyes.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio issued a warning against the International Criminal Court, vowing to push back against what he described as overreach. Rubio accused the ICC of trying to become the unaccountable arbiter of a new global law. He also claimed that the court's alleged interference of U.S. military and law enforcement operations threatens American sovereignty.
This administration will not sit by as the ICC and its allies seek to threaten our people. If they believe they can deprive us of our sovereignty, we will teach them the full meaning of American resolve.
Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has formally notified Congress of the resumption of the war with Iran. The letter fulfills the requirements of the War Powers Resolution, which requires the president to inform Congress within 48 hours of committing U.S. forces to hostilities. The U.S. also released footage of strikes targeting Iran's Bandar Abbas naval base. U.S. forces are also expected to resume their naval blockade in the Strait of Hormuz tomorrow. Trump also said he wants oil-rich Middle Eastern countries, specifically Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain, to reimburse the U.S. for its role in defending the Strait of Hormuz. In other news, the Norwegian Air Force escorted the men's national football team during its flight home following the country's historic World Cup run. The team received a warm welcome after reaching the FIFA World Cup quarterfinals for the first time in Norway's history. Meanwhile, Norwegian striker and now internet sensation Erling Haaland also went viral after posting photos of himself carrying a raccoon upon returning home, joking that it followed him home. CJ Reyes, IBC News.
Before we wrap up tonight's newscast, we bring you the results of the PCSO's 9 p.m. lottery draws. For the Lotto 642, the winning numbers are 21, 27, 38, 6, 18, and 35 with a jackpot price of 13,973,560 pesos and 81 centavos. For the Super Lotto 649, the winning combination is 18, 11, 37, 22, 36, and 17 with a jackpot price of 70,248,761 pesos and 21 centavos. For the Ultra Lotto 658, the winning combination is 1, 23, 17, 48, 58, and 34 with a jackpot price of 132,124,267 pesos and 28 centavos. For the 6D Lotto, the winning combination in exact order is 9, 9, 3, 2, 5, and 4. For the 3D Lotto, the winning numbers are 5, 6, and 3. And finally, for the 2D Lotto draw, the winning numbers are 10 and 23. There is no winner for the Lotto 642, Super Lotto 649, and Ultra Lotto 658. And those were the latest from the IBC newsroom this evening.
We'll continue to monitor the stories that matter and give you updates as they develop. I'm Angela C.
And I am William Thio. This is 30 News. Thank you for watching. Good night, everyone.